welcome to this episode of IFC Spotlight, where we highlight filmmaking and the artists that create them. This is
John.
Mattie, Joe. And tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
So Mattie and Joe and I were in a short film together called Over the Threshold, which was very cool.
Yes.
I'm from like the Midwest, and you're from.
Oh yeah, I'm from the Midwest as well. I'm from a small town in southern Missouri. The content of the film is about a married couple that has never had sex. It's their wedding night, and they hail from purity culture, and so it's us trying to get through the difficulties of a wedding night when you've been together for years but you've never had sex.
Yeah. Our writer-director, Joshua Payne, came from a background kind of similar to that, and he realized that he actually knows a lot of people that they really have that problem in their relationships, and he's like, nobody talks about it, and I know about it, and I know people that are going through that, and I don't see it in film or TV anywhere, so he wanted to put it up, which is awesome. I think it's cool. It's a cool little film.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I came from a very similar background. My dad was a pastor. I had a purity ring, the whole 9 yards. So I walked into the audition. I was like, I am this character, so you should cast me. But yeah, so.
That's awesome. So as another transplant, tell me a little bit of how your transplantation process has been from the Midwest area to New York, or what have you discovered, kind of the challenges that you face?
Oh God. Well, for me, I always say that from the first time I visited New York City when I was 19 years old, I was like, oh, this is home. This is where I want to be. So I was not scared of normal things like finding a job, making money, surviving here, the subways, things like that didn't scare me. For me, it was the total culture shock. I ended up living I had a living situation that was totally crazy. I was living with a very wealthy friend of a friend. So I wrote a blog I write a blog called God, Sex, and Rich People, and it's all about this transition.
Wow.
Because I was amongst, a class of people I'd never been around in my life. And so all of that was a culture shock. The religious beliefs were a culture shock, having to kind of grieve the loss of my faith, all of that. That was more of my transitioning here than finding a serving job that doesn't suck, So, yeah.
New York City has a heartbeat, and that's why I'm never gonna leave.
So, in talking with them a little bit before we started filming, I found out that you have just transitioned from theater and that kind of world into the film world, and that you have a deep, deep, deep love for theater.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how your love for theater, film, or vice versa has translated into how you work today, or what kind of has given you this foundation, or anything, little things that spark your mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, theater for me is what it is because that connection between a live performer and audience, when you can feel people responding to what you're doing, literally in the moment, in a way that I don't think it happens on film set. You might be hey, there are people watching you that are there, but they're also doing jobs. They're actively working, you know what I'm saying? And they have shit that they're worried about. Whereas being in front of that audience that is literally there to engage in entertainment or to be moved or to whatever it is, it's something I can feel, and it's addicting to me. So how that affects my work, it's a community. Work is a community.
Yeah, I think for so long, because I was telling you I come from the musical theater background, it always felt like I was walking into an audition room to recreate a character. And when it comes to commercial theater, it has to be very, very, very specific, very specific. Whereas what I really enjoy about moving into the on-camera world is it's a new character every time. And I get to create that character in Mattie Jo, And that's something. And the other thing that I love is that even though being on set has the complications of we're supposed to be really intimate right now. I told John at the end of our shoot, I was I'm really sick of kissing you. I'm so tired of making out with you at the end of the shoot. And you're doing that in front of a crew and all of that. And so that's harder to stay in the moment and with your scene partner or whatever. I still think it's not easier, but more fun and exciting to me than redoing a show night after night after night after night. It's hard to get to that place repeatedly with the same text, you know? And with a film set or TV set, you can just throw it away. It's like you do your takes and then it's over, and then you move on to the next thing. So I really love that. Yeah.
Gosh, that's beautiful. I love the things that you guys just said. As actors, we are put into these boxes where you either have to do A, B, and C or anything like that. If you had the freedom to literally do whatever you wanted, whether it be filmmaking, whether it be on the stage, comedy, whatever you want, even if it's not related to the arts, what's something you would do for you, for whoever's story you want to tell? It's a very heavy question.
Go for it.
Well, I thought it was going one way and then it switched at the last second.
Whatever you want.
I don't know. I dig like I grew up watching Pacino and De Niro, so like
DiMino?
Yeah, well, thank you. Like a movie that like gets like Italian American familyhood the way I experience it would be lit.
So not just these like kind of stereotypes that we see in the media quite often, but something that really nails down what you truly experience.
Yeah, I think so. That would be really cool because there's a dynamic to like fatherhood that I don't think gets expressed well in a lot of Italian American movies. So I bet that's so specific, but whatever.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And for you?
Yeah, I think for me it would be having the time and resources to write a book based on my blog, and then also write a series based on my blog, because I just know how much writing and storytelling, how much time that takes me, and if I didn't have to juggle that with doing, you know, going to my job and all of that, if I could just, someone was like, here's the budget, go for it. That would be my dream, because I know the story, the stories that I tell in God, Sex, and Rich People, it seems so funny to people on the coast. They're like, really? Like, it's entertaining to them? And there are things like Jane the Virgin and things like that that are satirical, but something that's like a combination of Jane the Virgin and Girls, where it's like, this is real, you know? Or even like Kimmy Schmidt and Girls, or Kimmy Schmidt, Sex and the City. Something that's not, it doesn't have to be hyperbole. The events are enough, you know? If I could do that, if I had infinite resources to make that happen, that would be what I did. I'm gonna do it.
Yes. And what are some goals, obviously, that we have as either an actor, as a filmmaker, as someone who's writing a blog, as someone who's trying to tell stories? What are you gonna do next?
Wow. I don't know. A couple plays, that's exciting. That's a literal, what am I gonna do next? To make that happen, I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, my short-term goals, so on the last project I did, I just became SAG eligible. So that's exciting. But short-term goal is get representation. I know you and I were talking about this, of an agent that I really feel like is in my corner. Get those 1 to 3 line co-stars. Get enough of those that eventually lead to guest stars, that eventually lead to series regular. My ultimate goal is to be a series regular on a comedy, dramedy, and to win an Emmy. Like, that's really, you know, I like tangible things, so that's my tangible. And then also to write my book, and because, which is a lot, but those are all things I'm taking small steps to work towards. Yeah.
All right, and where can we find you? Also, if you have a play coming up or anything coming up, let us know. But where can we find you on the media?
Just Facebook. I'm so bad at the internet. That's a separate problem I have. But I'm in a show coming up in October at the Jack in Brooklyn. They got a new space. It's very exciting. It's called The Johnsons. It's a wild play. I play a 17-year-old Icelandic kid. So let's go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So currently nothing lined up. I have a lot of premieres that are happening intermittently, so that's exciting. Projects that I did back in the spring that are premiering in the fall. But on the social media, I am very heavily on the Instagram. I love Instagram stories. They are so fun. At Mattie, Mattie, Joe, J-O, Cowsert, Cowsert. That's my handle. Yeah, and then you could subscribe to the blog at MattieJoCowsert.com/blog.
Nice. Awesome talking to you. Now let's go get some food.
Oh, yeah.